We need it. Oxygen. It's why we breathe.
Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast here, Small Biz Buffet. I am your host, Laurelyn Mears, also known as Dr. LL. And I'm here on the podcast as I am week to week when we meet with different guests, learning about different aspects about small business ownership, either coming from the folks who have run the small businesses themselves and learned, through the school of hard knocks, or they have somehow created other businesses or been part of other organizations which help and support other small business owners. So with me today, my favorite people, is just incredibly supportive and not what you'd think of in your typical sales guy. He is a masterful salesperson. He had his own company for many, many years, running and helping people build their sales and marketing and revenue growth strategies. He's been in biz dev for 20 years, currently at One Digital and one of their sales reps. And he is just a rock star sales guy that's going to tell you about what you need to know in making sales. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Laurelyn. Great to be here.
Like I said, just it's exciting just seeing I'm going to switch things up here on the view. Just exciting to see what's gone on with folks and
A break.
technical difficulty there coming from the person who is supposedly in charge of a tech company. But anyway, James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, what do you see going on in the world of business development and stuff? Set the context for us. What's happening out there? What are you seeing?
Especially in the biz dev space, but it's becoming a topic everywhere you go. If you haven't run into a conversation yet around AI, you will. I just was at a healthcare conference, which, if you compare healthcare to a lot of other industries, they're typically known for kind of being one of the last industries that kind of transform with new technology and adopt technology. So but even then, they had keynote speakers talking about AI at that conference. So when it comes to sales and business development today in 2025 and moving ahead, that has to be in your strategy conversations with whether it's you yourself as the owner, if you have salespeople that are on your team, or with your sales leaders. If there isn't conversations happening around what are we going to do or how are we going to leverage AI with our current sales strategy, then you're missing a major, major opportunity because that is what your competitors are talking about right now. That is what the top 500 Fortune 500 firms are talking about right now. Everyone's got incubators spending, and if you got a big company, you're literally spending millions and millions of dollars investing into this, figuring out how you can train your people to leverage this asset to help them basically increase their productivity more than they ever could before. That's really what it's about in general. But yeah, that is a major theme right now for 2025.
We're just going to dive like right in. Do you think that there are companies who are not utilizing AI and not formalizing how to bring it into their sales teams and business development operations?
100%. And I
Really?
have I have an interesting perspective because I am currently working with a very large employer that has over 5,000 staff, but I've also had my own consulting business that has served hundreds of small business owners. I'm on the board of directors for the local regional chamber of commerce, which serves over 1,000 small businesses. So I have a lot of different viewpoints and people that I talk to in different places that have small businesses, big businesses, somewhere in between different industries. And I will tell you that there are a lot of people that still are treating this conversation as, oh, I'm reading about it or I'm hearing about it on the news or it's come up at some industry events, but we really haven't done much with it yet. That is not where you want to be in a year from now. Hopefully, you'll have a different answer where you're saying we actually have leveraged this in four or five different ways to advance our business or to optimize our business, because that should be the answer when you end this year. Otherwise, you're going to be really behind because it is taking off very quickly with everyone's business.
Well, I am an avid follower of Salesforce. And of course, they've rolled out Agent Force, all of their next level generative AI, their agents that act like sales reps, and in that they can take inquiries from prospects, they can feed documents, they can look through all of the available documents in an asset library and have the intelligence built in that they've learned that, oh, this prospect wants this kind of thing. I'm going to give them this document and send it to them, and be able to interpret when the document isn't exactly the right one or whatnot, that, oh, I better connect you directly to James. James is standing by to take your call. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And even I would say, I mean, it's advantageous for everybody, but especially for small business owners, this is the greatest gift you could ever receive to use to build your business with. Because we've all been there running this business where you wear 10, 20 different hats as a small business owner, and that is exhausting. And you're working 60, 70 hours a week if you really want to push your business up with growth. This tool alone, this technology should and will save you 20, 30 hours a week of work if you just learn how to use it in ways that you could benefit from in your business. And that is a game changer for you in terms of your health, your wealth, just your stability as a business owner. It's just it's a game changer. So
It is. And my bot, I've been training since last summer. So it intimately knows who I am and says, Laurelyn, that's not on point with your brand or that style. Let's change the tone. And I was like, it's wild.
yeah, it's wild.
It, it's amazing. All right, so let's keep digging in. So when we think about
Yeah.
business ownership, like you said, we all have to wear 20 different hats, depends on the day. And for me, entrepreneurship is all about two things: ruthless prioritization, because everything's on fire all the time, every day, and radical optimism. But I want to hear from
Mhm.
you that what do you think is the most valuable skill that you've acquired in your journey of business ownership?
That's a good question. One of the biggest lessons learned or skills I had to develop in small business ownership is just, taking everything with a grain of salt. There's always going to be ups and downs in your business, but that needs to be expected. And another really it's difficult to do when you first start doing it, but the better you can get at it, sooner the better you're going to be later, is really removing your personal piece of you in the business, because the business is not you. Even if you're a solo operator, it's a business, it's a machine, it's a thing. It is not you. And the quicker you can remove that, you're going to save yourself a lot of stress on everything, because you really need to treat your business almost objectively and almost as a third party. The better you can do that, the better you're going to manage it and make better decisions with it than if you were too personally invested into it emotionally, because it really affects your ability to do what's right. But it also, speed too. If you really protect your energy and your emotions and your time, you can run the business at a steady state. What I found, several times in my business, is when things got difficult and very taxing emotionally or energy wise, because of whatever situation it was, it could slow me down for 2, 3 days a week, at a time. And you are the main contributor to the business. So you gotta think of ways where, you can mitigate that threat or that weakness to your small business, so that it's more consistent and more stable.
It's so true. It took me a long time to emotionally extract myself from my business, because I was like, oh, this has to work because for 10,000 reasons, because I mortgaged my house, because like right. And you just and go like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
right? That's not working. Yeah, okay, it's my
Yep.
fault in that I said, let's go down this path, and that path didn't work. I did research, but maybe not enough research, whatever, right? You can justify it six ways to sideways. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at it and say, oh, but wait a minute, here's a bright spot. If I pivot around that, and then you test and you work that out, I'm like, oh, okay. It's you have to, but you can't beat yourself up about it, and you can't cry over it. You have to keep moving forward.
Well, that and I think one thing that I learned along the way, and I mean, you see this especially with like nonprofits or some really well put together small businesses from the go, is you never want to be in a position where it's just you talking to a wall with all your decisions that you're thinking about and making. You need to get a soundboard and have people that can hear you out and really have, it doesn't need to be like extremely detailed, but have a business plan for the year. Have a business plan for the next 90 days. And in fact, I read a book I really enjoyed recently, called The 12-Week Year, where you treat the next 12 weeks as the full year. And if you miss your goals, or if you mess up or something happens, guess what? You actually have three more years in the year left, to
That's
get it
so good.
right. But it shows you how to think differently about, you know, executing faster, making simpler decisions that are easier to do, but get stuff done, and have a plan, but also have someone accountable to hold you accountable to the
Mm.
plan. It could be anybody. It could be a friend. It could be a coach. It could be a business partner, whoever. But you got to have someone that can look at you every week and say, "How did we do?" And it can't just be you, because otherwise, it's gonna slow you down.
And it's a slippery slope. Yeah, last week, well, we had snow and ice, and it was the holidays, and this week, and then like, oh yeah, and then I got sick. And okay, next week, right? And it easily becomes next year, right? So I see that. I love that. That's a great book. I've got
Yeah,
to look for that one. Excellent. Now,
it's
what
awesome.
about
Yeah.
your definition of success? Has it changed over the years? I know mine has, and so I'm really curious what other business owners think about what success looks like.
It has actually for me. And I think early on in my business venture career, I looked at a lot of people online, a lot of influencers, or
Mhm.
famous personalities, or people that seem to have the thing, or seem to have,
Right.
figured it out and are doing it this way. And, as a small business owner, you got to be really careful about that stuff. It's almost nice being in a bigger company where some of that you don't have to even really worry about that or think about that. But if you're on your own, it's just you, and there's a million different voices and personalities you could align with or pick from to listen to make you think a certain way and how to do what you do. You got to be really careful about that, because you can go down 20 different rabbit holes in the
Mhm.
next 90 days or even 6 months, and end up nowhere at the end of
Yeah.
the year. Because really the most important voice in the room that you gotta listen to is right here. And the thing that I, had took a while to learn and to get better at is your brain is there for a reason. You have reactions and emotions and physiological responses to things that you experience on a daily basis. Those are things to tell you the truth of what you're
Mm.
learning and what you're experiencing. And the more you actually listen to that and really honor that, you'll build more self-esteem and more confidence within yourself. If you follow through on things you tell yourself you're going to do and want to do, you again will build more confidence, more self-esteem, and more certainty in how you are and who you are. Because the definition of success that's changed for me is you got to be better than yourself yesterday,
Yeah.
and not someone else out there. It doesn't matter who you aspire to be, or who you look up to. It's your life, period. And so, what do you want in your business, in your life? And what are the excuses that you're telling yourself every
Mm.
day of why you can't get there sooner? You
Very
know,
good.
and real truths that you got to think about, because that's the real stuff that's holding you back. It's not because you're missing out on some cool new strategy out there that you just saw someone do. Those are going to be there forever. And You don't need those things to be successful. You just have to be better than you were yesterday and have enough runway to learn and make mistakes, and hopefully you get to where you want to go. But it's really it's you. It's totally you at the end of the day. And as a small business owner, I'll end with this is if you're not good at something, it's okay. Like you're probably good at one or two things, really good at one or two things of why you probably got into the business that you're in the first place. All those other things that take your time, suck your energy, drain you, those are probably things, almost certainly things that you should hire someone to do for you because they're not you. And you should do things that light you up, you're excited about, you feel like you're the best at. That is the stuff that's going to make your business better. And the more you put yourself into stuff that drains you, you're going to slow yourself down and hinder success. So it's really about managing yourself.
And that's so true. Like I've done that. I've lost like I wouldn't want to add up the time actually by chasing, chasing rabbits, right? Chasing windmills and thinking, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, I've got to learn. If I can learn, I can do this and I can prove, then I can, oh, forget about it, right? As they say in Jersey, forget about it. So if we think back, like way back, if you could write a note to yourself right now, James, to your younger self, right? We've all heard a question like this. What would you tell yourself on that first day of starting your business journey? What would you say? You'd say, James,
Um,
what?
I would say you're good enough to do
Mm,
this and you're good enough to win. Um, and you don't need this special piece of knowledge before you can take the next step in your thinking of what success is. You already are good enough to win. The most important thing to do is just go do and stop thinking so much because that's where you get in trouble. And the faster you take action and just learn from the action, the more you're going to move your business forward versus thinking about what you might do and who you might need to be or what thing you might need to learn. And thankfully, God, if we had AI 10 years ago or 15 years ago, whew, that would have been nice to be as a business startup.
right?
Because you can literally ask, hey, what do I do?
I
Or how
know.
would you do that?
It's
And,
right.
and it tells you.
I know. And like I said,
So
I've been training my bot since last year, and it tells me to get on point. Laurelyn, that's orthogonal to your brand. Why don't you get And I'm like, it's telling me to focus like the squirrel, right? I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't get to tell me to focus. I tell you
yeah.
what to tell me, right? Anyway, it's kind of funny. But again, okay, with AI and all of that, if I gave you $1,000 now and said, go forth and start a new business, what are the first things you would do? That's all you had, a laptop and $1,000. Because a lot of our listeners, that's the situation they're in. They're young folks, either leaving high school or leaving college, and they're saying, wow, yeah, I want to start a business. This is what I want to do. I feel it. What advice? What would you do? What are the first steps? $1,000 and a laptop. What do you do next?
Perfect. Well, you got a laptop, so that's good. You need that. You need internet. Make sure you have internet. Make sure you have a phone you can use to text people on because that's important too. Beyond that, make sure you start learning and playing with AI immediately. And the first place I would start is if you have no idea how to use AI at all. What I mean by that is ChatGPT. Let's get specific. Not
Mhm.
there's a lot of AI tools out there. Just go to ChatGPT. It's free, which is insane
Nice.
that it's free, but it's the best gift ever. But here's what you do. So, and I actually have a prompt for this that I love sharing with people. So if anyone listens to this and they want me to send it to them, I will. But basically, go build a board of directors through AI, and it could be someone that's alive or dead, people that you look up to. Just make sure it's someone that's got a lot of information on the internet about. Ideally they are alive and maybe they have YouTube videos or podcasts or things that the AI can sense their voice and their and how they talk and how they think and all that stuff. They've written books, whatever. But pick a group of people that you would, if you had $1 billion, you would pay to have advise you and tell you what to do. But this is the AI free version of that. And build that board and then ask them questions. Ask them, hey, here's my idea on what I think I want to do in a business. What do you think? Or what are the trends in the marketplace that would align with what I'm thinking about? Or is this a bad idea? Should I change my thoughts and maybe go on a different path? Here's my best skill sets that I know I have. How can I use that to start a business? And AI will use all those kinds of questions and give you a million great ideas. And then once you get there, just keep drilling down. Well, how would I implement it? What should I do today? What should I do tomorrow? And with AI, you could literally build a bulletproof 90-day execution plan to launch any business that you want for virtually for free. It costs almost zero overhead and you're off and running. So that's where I would start.
I like that's going to get like rockets. Like, I think that is absolutely brilliant. I'm thinking like, well, I can't wait till this podcast is over. I'm going to have to do that and go back to my bot and say, hey, why didn't you suggest this? This is a brilliant idea. It also sort of ties into one of the questions I wanted to ask you was if you had to think about the wackiest or out there advice, right? Or counterintuitive bit of advice that you've heard on how to be successful that actually worked, what would does anything come to mind?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. I would say so. I'm thinking of a couple things right now. And then it's in the context of sales, which is perfect because that's what we're talking about, on the podcast. But uh, I got advice once from somebody on how to send an email or a text when you get ghosted.
Hmm.
And there's all this sales training and all this stuff out there of like how to sell XYZ and whatever. And I got this advice, and I'm like, there's no way that this is going to work. This sounds way too simple to be true. And it was literally like one little sentence, so easy to text, so easy to email. And it worked almost 100% of the time where I would hear back from that person that's been ghosting me for a week or a month or whatever it is. And
Are you
so
going to share?
sometimes, uh, uh,
Have
yeah,
to.
I know I do. I
Pressure.
want to share. No, I want to share. I'm just trying to remember exactly what it is. It was something like oh God, no, I'm not gonna remember. But it was basically like, you know, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. I've tried to reach you several times, dot, dot, lots of dots. Where do we go from here? And that's it. And you'll be shocked at how much response you get from that. And usually almost the entire time it's because someone's been busy and they just forgot, or it wasn't that big of a priority for them in the first place, so they kind of just put it on the shelf. But no one's been trying to be intentionally a jerk to you. They weren't thinking about it. So when you send them that, they feel bad, because you are valuable, your time's valuable, and it helps them kind of realize like, oh shoot, even if they tell you, hey, sorry, I've been busy, I'm actually not interested. They'll tell you, they'll just get back to you and just close the loop on it. But it was great, and that one little liner has helped me rescue a lot of conversations. I mean, it doesn't mean the deal got closed, but it helped put a closed loop on whatever that was. Um, so that was one of them. And the other one I would quickly say is, you know, pricing your product or your service. Especially as a small business owner, we have the complex of the what's it called? The imposter syndrome complex,
Mm.
right? Where you don't think you're good enough or you don't have enough case studies to command this level of fee for whatever it is that you provide. And that's just not actually true. You can charge within reason. You can charge a really premium fee for what you service. Um, Consider your past experience, because I'm guessing that for most of the people that are building businesses, they're building something that because they've experienced it elsewhere and they have 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years of experience in something that they're really good at. and they never got paid for that premium value, maybe to the level they wanted to before, but now they can because they're in their business now. Don't be afraid to charge a lot of money, and just realize that if you want to make money faster and charge a premium service or a fee for your service, it doesn't mean the price is wrong. It might mean that your market is wrong. And you don't want to sell to people that can't afford you. You have to find the market that can afford you for
Yeah.
that service. But don't be afraid to price it higher. Just realize it has to align with the market you're selling to. And that was a really important lesson for me to learn early that helped me a lot. So
Ah, it's like you were meant to be here consulting with, because that's one of the things I do. I undercharge all the time. People are like, that's it? Did I leave money on the table? Should I have charged you more? Do you want to pay more? No, 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 that's good. That's good. And I have not gotten as good as I need to be at that, but this is my Thrive in 2025 year. So yes, I am getting better at
there
that,
you
as
go.
they say. Now, you've given us a couple of examples of the kinds of things where salespeople could do or should do better or differently. I want to ask you that if you had a chance to start now and be aligned with some business school, what's the course that you would demand is created for people coming into business school to learn? What do you think they need to know? What courses are in your mind that you think should be
I would
there, or
say,
topics?
yeah. Um, I'm thinking of three. So
Hmm.
one is 100% got to have an AI course. Have to. You have got to be learning how to use this
Mhm.
tool. If you haven't realized this conversation yet, it's really important. um, but I learned that. Second, just as important is effective communication skills, period. You have got to sharpen how you speak and how you formulate your thoughts, how you formulate a conversation, drive it and lead a conversation, how to lead it to the next step. All those things are really, really important. And I thought I was fairly decent at that. And I went to a boot camp program last year through One Digital, which I was like, wait, what? And it was the most impressive 13-week sale. It's focused on sales, but it was really about how to effectively communicate better in any setting. And you
Mhm.
learned how you get to get coached on what you say, you get to listen to what you said, you get to like train yourself on how to speak differently, how to structure your conversations differently that are more strategic, more effective. Like it was insanely awesome, and it dramatically helped me with my sales conversations. So get an effective communication class. It will help you in so many ways. For it doesn't matter if you're in your work, in your job, in an association, at a networking event. All those things matter when it comes to speaking really well. Um, and then I would probably also say take a speaking class, like learn how to be a public speaker.
Mhm.
Uh, that kind of goes along with that, but it's different. Learn public speaking skills and how you can use those both in person and online. Um, and then the last would be leadership. Just take a leadership course on how to be a good leader and how to inspire people, how to build relationships with people. Because as much as AI is in our conversations today, and it's going to be every day, the one thing that it doesn't replace is relationships. And a lot of industries, a lot of businesses still and will depend and thrive on good relationships. And that is priceless. So I just got back from a conference last week from a healthcare conference, and this is a group of people that I've known now for over 15 years, and they're still there. And we have
Mhm.
great relationships that were built that long ago. And in some cases, are just now bearing fruit for things that I need today. So you can
Yeah.
never value what relationships are going to do for you in your life and your business. And if you treat them well, they're there forever. So
It it is. Just this past week, I reached out. So one of my interns was looking for a job. So I tried to help her and she said, "Oh, you know, so and so at so and so company." I said, "Oh, geez, I haven't talked to him in a while." But yeah, we used to play competitive beach twos volleyball up and down the Great Lakes. So it's been a while. I can't play volleyball anymore, but there we go. We were good. And I reached out to him and he hooked her up and got her set and into the process and the interviewing and stuff. And after he screened her. And so you never know. Again, it is about being out there and connecting. It doesn't mean you have to connect weekly but you do have to tap in once in a while, see how they're doing and try to move it along. Like, yeah, you never know, right? Did I think 25 years ago we were playing beach volleyball that I'd ping him to see if he could help one of my interns get a job? No, that wasn't the
Well,
thought.
and that's, life events help you remember this kind of stuff, but really, at the end of the day, you got one life, you got one shot, and your legacy is going to be based on the people that you've impacted, you know,
Right.
and
That's right.
relationships come in, and there's nothing more important, in my opinion. You just
Yeah.
that's why we're here, is to help you positively impact each other's lives, period.
It's perfect. We're going to go to one more question and then we're going to ask folks or tell folks how they can find you. So, my signature question, if we had a chance to look into your closet and we saw all that footwear that was in there, what pair of whatever, sneakers, boots, this, that, personifies who you are, James Jacobi, and gives us a glimpse of your personality and your style and describe that footwear and why it's you?
That's a fun question. Well, I would say, especially over the last couple of years, I used to play golf a lot as a kid, and then I was in the golf team in high school. And then I, started a career, had a family, had kids, and I kind of put it all on the shelf. And now, based on what I'm doing right now for work, fortunately, it lets me get out on the golf course a lot more and get to, network with a lot of people, and it's a lot of fun. So, I love wearing polos and golf over sweaters and things like that, because one, they're really comfortable, and two, they look good. But I got a lot of them now and I collect those a lot. So like business casual golf, stuff I love wearing around.
Perfect. See, that's just it reflects into it's something human, right? How people connect. All right, James, tell folks where they can find you on LinkedIn or whatnot or on social media.
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. It's simple. It's just James Jacobi, /James Jacobi. You can friend request me on there. I'd love to add you and talk with you more, especially if you've listened to this. I'd love to have a conversation with you. That's the best place to find me. So start from there and we'll go from there.
Excellent. Well, thank you, James Jacobi, for giving us all kinds of great information and insights on how to do sales better, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not making sales, problems. So thank you so much for being on the show.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?